Hey, good evening and welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. One of the things that has come to mind in the last week or so was with the passing of Mike on Philippine journey, and he was one of the first bloggers, and when he died, he apparently left his partner with no way of having any say about his banking. Now, I'm not sure how that could have worked, but there are people who come over and they have a partner, and whether they so leaving. Just having set up the subject of the talk, let's leave Mike and his partner behind and not say that this is any reference to them. The fact is that the way that people handle their money when they come over here is very much a matter of personal choice. But I know that once a foreigner has passed and left a partner, if she is not married, if they do not have a joint account, if she has no way of accessing his account, in the case of it not being a joint account, it gets very difficult. And because of that, in Mike's case, Mike's partner's case, I never met Mike's partner. In fact, I never met Mike. I just knew him through a kind deed that he did for me and for us when he put us in touch with Larry Malley, who was able to give us a wheelchair for a young woman who we were helping. She was crippled with MS, and we thought that if we could get a wheelchair, we actually put like an ad onto our channel and said, if anybody has a wheelchair for sale, please let us know. We'll be happy to come round and buy it for a reasonable price. The way that it worked out, because of Mike and because of his introduction to Larry Malley, who has now also died. He was killed in a road accident with a tricycle, which ironically was taking someone to emergency room at the hospital. Life is full of ironies. Anyway, Mike was indirectly responsible for us being able to supply a wheelchair to Desiree. Larry Malley gave that to us, would not accept any money, and we were able to give that to Desiree. So, if you are a partner, if you are a partner to a foreigner, you should have at least had a talk with what would happen, because usually the foreigner is of a greater age. As in my case, I'm much older than Beth, but we talked about this. You know, Beth doesn't like the D word, so we don't go around keeping on saying when I die, but we already have everything arranged, and the fact is that it's a question of trust that comes very much to the surface when you're talking about Filipino-foreigner relationships. And because I don't know what it is that humans are a funny species, aren't they? They focus very much. You could have 1,000 people saying yes, and the one or two that say no would mess up the whole thing. So it's difficult to understand why people, well, for me and Beth, it's difficult for people to understand why they are not more trusting. But I guess if you step back a few, then you'll find that they are being perhaps realistic about a relationship that is not actually based on trust, which for Beth and I, it's based on trust. So whatever would happen to me or to Beth, either partner would be taken care of. And that's, of course, how it should be. Now, it doesn't seem to me to be so difficult to be able to work this out. Either you have an account which has a passbook, and which either partner can sign. Now, that's where the trust comes in. If you have, let's just say, for example, you have 500,000 pesos in the bank, which actually wouldn't amount to a great deal of money, but 500,000 pesos in the Philippines is still, well, 500,000 pesos, anything is a lot. So you've got that, and the Lord comes to collect your end-of-life debt, and you pass on, and you leave a partner. Well, if it's a passbook, it can easily be handled, as long as you have made it clear to the bank that that's what should happen, and you would have prepared some kind of a document. Now, for us, we have a passport, we have a passbook, and either can sign on that, and we don't have any pauses of trust. We also have an ATM card, and I have 2 ATM cards, because I have 2 small pensions. So it really gets down to trust, and trust gets down to the choice that you make. And we always go on about this, that depending on where you find your partner, what kind of life she is living, and the same accounts with the foreigner. What kind of life was he living? The kind of life that he's living in is what you could say is his natural state. And if he's a man who likes to go out to the pub, likes to talk to the ladies, likes to employ them now and then dragging him along to the church service on Sunday may be a little bit of a stretch. So think about it carefully. Think about how you are going to choose your partner. Think about how the money is going to be handled, because it is important. Nowadays, it's quite in vogue to have what they call a prenuptial agreement, and the prenuptial agreement makes sense in some cases if the man is alone in the world, or either by choice or by circumstance. Then the prenup is a difficult one. Why would you marry someone who you expect to be with you for the rest of your life, and yet not trust them on money? Because chances are you're going to be trusting them with your life. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But a prenup, in the case of one foreigner that I met, this was a man who was a subscriber, and he was quite well off, would never have to worry about money, and had a large tract of land in the Midwest of America, which he loved. He loved his life there. Now, he had come to the Philippines on a vacation and unexpectedly met and fallen in love with a Filipina here, as often happens. Now, he struggled against it, I think, but eventually he had to give up and say, I love this woman and I want her in my life. Plus, the woman had taken on, at the death of her sister, I believe this is how it worked, she had taken on the care of, I think, either 2 or 3 young girls. So, of varying ages, you know, starting around the 6 or 7 and then going up to maybe 12 or 13. Now, unexpectedly, he actually fell in love with the entire family. But he had of his own, he had 2 grown-up children. And on this huge tract of land where he had built his own house, his son, a little way down, had built his house, and his daughter had also done the same. So in order to protect them, he had made everything out into an estate that was already decided upon, so that whatever happened to him in a new marriage, his older children would be taken care of, because he cared about them, and it actually was a close-knit family in the States, and they were supportive of him and actually loved the idea of this new family coming to stay in America, which, as far as I know, worked out very well. But the money side of it was all handled up front. So this is something that I think that people should do here. They should talk about it. Now, for me, it was easy because I didn't have anything. I'd pretty well got through the money that I brought with me, which was not very much in the first place. And Beth and I came over, and really we started with a clean slate. We worked with my modest pensions, which, modest though they were still enough to live on. We can live, whatever happens, we can live on my pensions, modestly, as I always like to say. But then we started our YouTube channel, and it became very successful. Now, dollar-wise, it's not much. But when it's transferred or converted at the rate of 51 pesos to the dollar, now then we're okay. And we've been very wise and frugal, and we've saved, and we have no debt. So therefore, because trust is there, we never have a concern about money. I trust Beth completely, and there has never been any question of whether either of us trusted the other. So you should be trying, at the very least, to get a relationship where trust is a given. And if trust is a given, then everything else should fall into place, because you'll be able to be open and honest, and you'll be able to sort something out up ahead of time. Hope that helps. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for being with me. Bye for now.